Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Wednesday, March 13th, 2013 regular Board of Education meeting. I'd like to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Brady.
Here.
Mrs. Capabianco. Here. Mr. Cavaniero will not be here. Mrs. Hona here. Mr. Kisco.
Here.
Mr. Marola.
Here.
Mr. Nargi.
Here.
Mr. Rivero.
Here.
Mr. Tebow.
Here.
Mr. Traub.
Here.
Mrs. Batchelder. Here. Mrs. DeMonico. Here. Mr. Jocelyn.
Here. Here.
Mrs. Clacko. Here. Mayor Bingham. Austin Kelson.
Here.
Kevin Finn.
Here.
Rachel Kelly. Here.
Hold on. Okay, we hope everybody can hear us. Our microphones are not here, so we're going to have to use our outside voices. Teacher voices. Contract. Okay, school community session. Public participation. The board invites members of the community to speak on topics to be addressed in the agenda or on other topics of interest. Individuals wishing to make comments are requested to fill out the speaker sign-up sheet on the table in front of me. You must include your name and address, which also must be stated at the beginning of your comment. The board will not allow comments regarding specific staff members or personal grievances. Courtesy is expected in this limited public forum. The participating time will be limited to 3 minutes per person and 10 minutes overall to guarantee an efficient operation of the meeting. Before we start that, we're not going to be discussing the budget tonight. We're going to be receiving the budget tonight. The discussion on the budget will be held Monday the 18th and Tuesday the 19th at site visits where there'll be public forums for people to speak. We're going to stick to the 10 minutes tonight. So if I can have that sign-up sheet, please. Okay, first is Carrie Hona.
Sit. This is my spot.
Yes, it is. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. First, I want to thank the board for all of the work you guys are doing on the budget and for our schools in general. I know you're missing a lot of time away from your own families, and I wouldn't want to be sitting in your seats tonight. I live at 603 New Harwinton Road, and my husband Chris and I have 2 daughters. My oldest daughter Bailey is in kindergarten at East School, and my youngest daughter Callie will be starting at the preschool lab at the high school next year. These budget conversations have really brought up some concerns that my husband and I have shared for several years. We purchased a home in Torrington about 4 years ago, and at the time we really considered buying a home in a community outside of Torrington with better schools. However, now that our daughter is in school here, we continually fear that we made the wrong choice. These concerns finally pushed us to begin filling out applications for magnet schools throughout the state and figuring out how to afford private school. There are some amazing magnet schools that are doing some great things in Connecticut that fit so well with how my daughters learn and what they love. However, every time I make a phone call to a school or I sit down at the computer to fill out an application, I get this nagging feeling in my stomach. You see, what gets to me is that I don't want to send my kids to a magnet school. I don't want to get them on the bus in the dark and have them ride out of town or get into our car and get an extra hour of sleep as we drive them halfway across the state to school. I want them to wake up and walk to the end of their driveway or the end of our street and get on the bus with their friends. The friends that they play Little League with, the friends that they take dance class with. In my opinion, that means as much to their education as what they learn inside the classroom. What I desire is simple. It's probably what most of us here want. We want our kids to be taught in classrooms of manageable size, cared for by a mix of young, energetic teachers and more experienced senior teachers. Educators who have as much love and concern for our community as I do. I want my girls to have the books and materials they need and access to all of the sports, music, and activities that make a student well-rounded. My girls wake up every morning full of awesome. They want to do science experiments, they want to do art projects, they want to read and write books, and most recently they want to produce movies. I want a school system that gives my teachers the support they need to encourage my kids to do whatever they want to do, even if that means my 5-year-old achieves her current dream of being Justin Bieber's backup dancer. This is not a this year problem. The part that pushed me towards looking towards private school was the simple fact that even a 5.75% increase is just to keep our schools where they're at right now. No new programs, no new challenges for students, and no new resources for teachers. Imagine what our school system would look like if we stood up and said, you know what, we want a 10% increase. What if we drew a line in the sand and said, Torrington is going to be the place that people come to teach their kids. I think if we did that, we might just end up with more involved parents, more children who arrive at school ready to learn, and in turn, an even better school system. It is my understanding that the mayor wants to come in with a 0% budget increase. If I were him, that's not something I would be proud of. 15 years ago, this same school system prepared me for a great college education and a career I love. It gave me a tolerance for others, a love for theater, an interest in government, and a talent for baton twirling. We can be that school system again. We just have to want it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Lee Quinn.
My name is Mary Lee Quinn. My address is 76 Acme Drive, Middlebury. I am a media specialist at East School and at Vogel-Wetmore School, and I'd like to address the proposed reduction of the media specialists at the elementary and middle school levels. I was hired as a media specialist in Torrington in 1996. At that time, I was offered many other positions. However, when I asked around, I was told, pick Torrington. Everyone said Torrington is the top for library, media, and technology. In the 17 years I've been in Torrington, I've seen this program slowly decimated. Capital expenditures for technology were cut year after year. Technology staff was cut, and funding for supplies and books was cut. At the same time, new technologies were emerging. Interactive whiteboards, more access to the internet, iPads, Kindles, Nooks, ebooks, document cameras, flip cameras, projectors, wikis, and blogs, to name a few. Along with the new technologies, new cataloging rules arose, and a new union catalog, Destiny, was installed at all schools last year. We endured the cuts, learned the new technologies, and carried on. 4 years ago, we were able to hire a new part-time media specialist at Southwest School and saw our dream of a full-time media specialist at every school almost come to fruition. I say almost because instead of a full-time media specialist at Southwest, that position was cut along with one other elementary position and the middle school position. The 3 remaining elementary library media specialists were split among the elementary schools and the middle school. Now, instead of servicing approximately 400 students at the elementary level, 2 of us are servicing approximately 900 students and 150 staff members. The middle school position was eventually reinstated to full-time status, and a media specialist was hired for 2 days a week at Forbes School. I can go on, but the bottom line is that by eliminating these proposed library media positions in the 2013-2014 budget, the Torrington Library Media Program will regress to where it was 28 years ago. This, as the advent of the Common Core and digital citizenship requires renewed emphasis on high-quality nonfiction or information literature and ethical use of technology respectfully. I have here the latest study in a long line of research proving that a full-time library media specialist boosts student achievement. This one was published in March of 2013. I thank you for your time. I realize the hard work and difficult decisions that you have ahead of you, and I wish you luck. Thank you.
Tom Offerdahl. I hope I got that right.
Yeah, you did. I'm Dr. Tom Offerdahl. I live at 247 Birchwood Drive. I've been here for about 4.5 years. Nobody here knows my last name. I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in a small town in Minnesota. I was offered a position at a company all the way down in Ridgefield, Connecticut. I took that position, figuring it was better for my family because life wasn't so good back in Kansas. And tornadoes are always an issue. So we came out here and I started looking for places to live. I looked over in New York State. I looked at New Milford. I looked at Brookfield. I looked at Southbury. I looked everywhere. We go online, we research. We see that the music department here is second to none. My wife started college to be a music education teacher. She wants her kids to be involved in music. So far, both of my older ones are. So it was like, okay, it's a 55-mile commute for me every day, but it's for the kids. I'll do it. So we have my oldest two. My one's in the middle school. One's at East. And then I have a kindergartner also at East, who right now is trying to figure out what instrument he's going to want to play. The music staff here, so far, the ones that I've been exposed to, Campolita and Hodgkins, sorry, they are excellent. My sister-in-law also teaches music, and she is amazed at the level that my kids are performing at the age that they are. She's absolutely amazed. Now, the numbers that are in band district-wide, I went through, Campolita gave me some numbers, 29.1%. Almost a third of the students are involved in band. That's fourth grade on up, the ones that are actually involved to be in band and orchestra. So roughly about 30% of the students. Elementary alone is 63%. Almost 2/3 of the kids are exposed to music at a very young age, and it's very beneficial. Tons of studies, math and science aptitude increase by music. I could go on and on about all of the numbers. And all over your district website, it's posted, best community for music, all those years in a row. It's everywhere. It's on the town website. It's on the school website. Everybody knows about it. We need to be able to take advantage of that. We cannot cut the music program. And I don't know the numbers, perhaps the staff does. How many honor students currently are there in the Torrington school system that are also band members? My oldest daughter's in 7th grade. She's been an honor student all the way through middle school. Her grade point average right now, because I checked Power School, love that app, it's great, 96.5%. She's excelling. She's great. So, a little bit on class sizes. I know I only have 3 minutes, but the class sizes really need to stay where they are. I saw the STAR study that was done in Tennessee, cover span about 15 years. Class size directly related overall to SAT scores. Doesn't matter if it's urban, rural, suburban, all of those fit in. Of course, a lot of people are going to say the teachers are paid too much. They're not. I can't even imagine what they have to deal with. I taught at the college level, where these educators already did their job and prepared these students for life in college. What kind of product will we be producing if we cut staff and get head count to where it needs to be? And so, you know, I didn't grow up in this district, so I don't know all the teachers, but the ones that I've met, the ones that my students have had, they truly do care about the success of the students. Now, if I can read one thing here and see if anybody can figure out where I got it from. To graduate all students with the knowledge, skills, ethics, attitude, and confidence to succeed in their future. That's the district mission statement. The vision of Torrington Public Schools is to be recognized as a high-achieving, future-oriented learning community dedicated to embracing all people as individuals who contribute purposely to our diverse and dynamic society. Very fitting. We need to be thinking about that when we go on doing the budget. I know your decisions are going to be difficult. But I mean, I moved all the way out here from Kansas for my job and for my kids. I moved all the way up here for my kids. If the positions and things are cut to a level that's going to be detrimental to my kids, my decision is simple. I'll move. I will take my family and I'll go somewhere else. You have 3 less kids to have to worry about in the school district. Thank you all for your attention.
Sandy Mangan?
Yes. Good evening. I'm Sandy Mangan. I'm a teacher at Torringford School. I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of the faculty at Torringford School. We understand that the district and the city are facing fiscal hardship, and you have many difficult decisions to make regarding ways to reduce the budget. However, we would ask that you keep the position of assistant principal at Torringford School in the budget. This position is vital for our school community, our children, our parents, and our faculty members. Torringford School is the largest elementary school in town. Our current enrollment is 612 students. We are projected to have a kindergarten class of 151 children. The fifth grade class leaving our building has 91 students for a net increase of 60 students. This does not take into consideration other students that may move into the Torringford area over the summer or those who opt for the school choice option. It is impossible for one building administrator to lead a building this size without an assistant. Something will need to be sacrificed at our building. Our assistant principal oversees all of the scheduling for the building, which includes, but is not limited to, coordination of specialists, grade level teachers, and special programs. Coordinates mastery testing, including but not limited to scheduling, packaging, and security of all test materials for each student in grades 3 through 5. Facilitates PPT meetings alongside with the school's psychologist and other professionals. Evaluates certified staff in the building, both holding formal and informal observations, documenting observations and debriefing with staff members. Assists with discipline referrals and communication with our families. Attends grade level meetings to ensure both district and Common Core state standards are being implemented. Attends RTI meetings, attends weekly literacy team meetings, and many other things. The elimination of this position comes at a time when the state has mandated a new evaluation system. The new evaluation plan requires the administrator to sit with each teacher to discuss their strengths and weaknesses and to complete goals that will lead to improvement. It also requires all teachers be evaluated 3 to 6 times throughout the year. There will also need to be a pre and post meeting for each of those observations. This task alone would monopolize the time of 2 administrators, let alone 1. If we have one administrator spending most to all of his or her time evaluating teachers, who will be conducting PPTs, attending grade level meetings, disciplining students, and talking with our parents? We have 1 social worker and a part-time psychologist. Our psychologist is there a day and a half per week, the full day typically spent in PPTs. Another significant chunk of her time is spent testing. In the past, when we had about 150 fewer students, we had a psychologist in our building 3 days a week. Many of the administrative responsibilities would need to transfer to the social worker, the psychologist, and other professionals in the building. The elimination of this position would have a domino effect on our entire school community. Please reconsider your recommendation to eliminate this position from the elementary level. We thank you for your time and your consideration.
Okay, move on to approval of the agenda. We need a motion to amend the agenda. We have to amend. We invited our state legislators and state senators to come here tonight to follow up on a meeting we had in August where they explained the educational cost sharing and the efforts they make in getting additional funds to the city of Torrington. None of them were able to make it tonight, so we're going to have to amend that off the agenda. Motion by Ellen, second by Ellen. Any discussion? In favor? Opposed? Okay, unanimous. Information sharing and discussion. Student representative school news. And we have a full house. Welcome. Get a motion to approve the agenda? So moved. Second by Carl. All those in favor? Okay. Sorry.
So my first report here from Vogel Wetmore. We have that the first and second year chorus members sang at THS at the St. Jude's Telethon on Sunday, March the 3rd. They did a rendition of Hallelujah from the movie Shrek. That was a fan favorite. Marjorie Giraldo, a 5th grader who is in the chorus, has been selected to sing in the National Children's Choir of OAKE There will be a concert on the 23rd at 7 p.m. at the First Cathedral Church in Bloomfield. And next year's national contest will be held in Georgia, so congratulations to her. Leangie Garcia, a 4th grade student, is a county winner in the 2012-2013 Connecticut Fire Prevention Poster Contest. She will be recognized on March the 27th at the Cromwell Courtyard Marriott. Her art teacher, Ms. McGeehan, notes that Leangie has been recognized 2 years in a row, so congratulations to her as well. On March 20th and the 27th, Ms. Smedick and Mrs. Lopez look forward to taking their kindergartners on a field trip to the Kids Place Museum. On the 22nd, the PTO will host their annual family movie night. And on March 27th, there will be a 4th grade instrumental music concert at 7 p.m.
All right, out of the middle school, music teachers Jess Laka and Dan Hodgkins were fortunate enough to be involved in the Northern Regional Middle School Honors Festival. These dedicated musicians were selected from over 1,200 middle school students across Connecticut to be part of either the honors band, chorus, orchestra, or jazz band. Students worked for 2 days with a guest conductor before performing on Saturday. The TMS students raised $1,000 from their penny wars that was going to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and they also made another $1,000 at for the Tim Considine Memorial Scholarship on February 27th. The flapjacks for field trips. That's right. On Saturday, March 23rd, there will be a pancake breakfast at Applebee's. The proceeds will go to 6th grade field trips. The cost is only $6 per ticket, and the breakfast is served from 8 to 10, and it will be served by the 6th grade staff. And this week is CMTs at the middle school, and makeups will continue into next week.
I have the high school. History Day district competition hosted here on Saturday was a great success with 180 student participants from the middle and high schools from around the region. We had 25 THS winners who will go on to the next level of competition. The state contest is on April 27th. Many thanks to the THS student volunteers, the THS PTO who took care of food concessions, and THS social studies teachers who volunteered as judges or event assistants, as well as the IT folks who worked that day. State Representative Michelle Cook and State Senator Clark Chapin were also here. CAP testing 2013 continues this week and into next week for all 10th graders and some 11th graders. March is Music in Our Schools Month. Tomorrow night is THS Chorus and Orchestra performance at 7 p.m. in the TMS Auditorium. That is free. Tuesday, March 26th is the Tri-Town Band Festival at the Warner Theater at 7 p.m. It promises to be an amazing night of music. It's $10 for adults and $5 for students. Our girls basketball team were NVL champions, so congratulations to them. Congratulations to our boys swimming team. 10 swimmers are swimming tonight in the state finals. Last night, Winter Sports Awards took place in the gym. Earlier tonight was the Spring Sports Coaches Parent-Athlete Meeting. Spring is coming, so once spring sports get underway, we hope you will come out to enjoy a game or two. THS is sponsoring a food drive. This is a club challenge. Members of clubs will bring non-perishable food items to their club advisors. The Interact Club will be hosting their annual dodgeball tournament on March 22nd in the THS Gymnasium. The tournament begins at 7 p.m. and is open for spectators to watch for $3. All proceeds from the tournament will go to the Generation Rwanda, Inc., a nonprofit organization that provides educational opportunities for Rwandan children affected by the 1994 genocide and diseases such as AIDS and malaria. The Interact Club's dodgeball tournament has raised other funds for this organization since 2005.
Thank you. Is that sound system any better back there this week, this month? No. All right. Okay. Superintendent's report. Thank you.
We'll start with the budget.
the books out yet? Okay.
First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for coming this evening. I'd like to clarify one very important thing in this whole process. Tonight is the presentation of the superintendent's budget. It is not a zero budget. It was requested of me to see if I could bring the requirements to operate and manage and run this school district and to provide a quality learning environment for all children. If it could be done, if we just had the same amount of money that we have this year for the following school year. I did that by demonstrating, no, it could not be done. And in reality, as I said last week, or last time we met, yeah, it was last week with the subcommittee, to turn the key on July 1st and have the same school district that we had on June 30th, it would take a 5.75% increase for $3.7 million. That is where I am coming from as the educational leader for this district, and I hope you bear with me and listen to the presentation tonight. Tomorrow morning by 9 o'clock, we will have the full budget on our website. If you need a paper copy, they can be picked up down at Midgeon Avenue, but we are trying to save trees. If you do not have access to it, please let us know. We will, you can come and pick one up. Okay. Do I have a volunteer to be a clicker?
I'll do it.
Over here. Okay. Just watch the bobbing head. All right. And I hope I can have the board's indulgence, but I put this way because I knew there would be a bigger crowd out here than here. So thank you very much for your cooperation. The basis for this budget. Okay. First and foremost, we wanted to continue to invest, okay, in the natural resource of Torrington, its youngest children, and the ability to develop their human capacity. That's what learning is all about. The other basis behind the budget, as you can see, is to provide a learning environment that will prepare all our children, from youngest to oldest, to be college and career ready, and to understand the need for civic responsibility. We want to achieve Board of Education goals. The board set goals last fall, and in order for myself, leadership team, administration, teachers, paras, anyone who works in this district, in order to get it done, that's what the basis of this budget is. We want to meet the requirements of federal and state mandates. We want to maintain and expand upon improvements that have occurred in this school year budget. And we want to make and meet our contractual obligations, whether it's for diesel fuel, salaries, whatever. But we want to make sure that we have money there to meet those obligations. So, investing in a school district is investing, putting investments in just as you would in your retirement fund and your child's college education plan. Whatever you invest in, well, I'm saying that you have invested in Torrington Public Schools. So with any investment, you want to know what's the return. What did you get? Did your taxes go up last year? Probably. Mine did. Well, what did you get back for that? I want to share that with you. The first thing that And we want to know, when you're looking for a return on investment, is anybody better off? The strategies that were implemented, what it cost, and what were the results. So you invested $112,000 for another assistant principal at Torrington High School. What was Torrington High School able to do with that? They set up the grade 9 academy for our 9th graders so that the transition from 8th to 9th grade looked more familiar. They had a closer network, they had teams, and they felt it was easier to make the transition. There was somebody dedicated just to that 9th grade class. Highly important. It allowed the students to develop better relationships with their teachers, to understand what the expectations of a high school student are as compared to the differences of being an 8th grader. And it also allowed the teachers for better monitoring of student academic progress, how they were adjusting. It just was better for the kids. That's what we got. What's the result? We have fewer students failing in 9th grade this year. We have, which will lead to fewer overaged and undercredited students. That's a big thing for students coming to high school to understand, that I'm working now and I need to earn credits. Not just grades, but I need to earn credits. And by having students more successful in school, that'll keep them in school because they've developed the relationships with their teachers, and then without dropping out, they'll get that diploma and hopefully go on to college and career, and so then be a less burden on the city's social services. So it's a win-win all the way around, but it starts, for now, and with this example, it starts in 9th grade, but in reality, it starts in preschool. Okay. Another return on investment. The first one was a regular education modification program that we developed for all students. Now one that we did with special education that was not covered with grants was $240,000, where we invested in 4 teachers for 4 separate programs within the district. One at the elementary level, one at the middle school, one at the high school, and then one that served all children across the district. What did we get from investing in these 4 teachers and starting a program, these programs, or expanding existing programs? We saved $1.275 million. How is that possible? We were able to keep children at a minimum of 31 students in district, in their own community, working with their own teachers, where parents knew the teachers. We were able to decrease our out-of-district tuition payment for a program that services children with special needs, and transportation. So it's about $48,000 or more for every out-district placement, and then you add transportation onto that. So by adding these programs, you invested, $250,000, but we were able to save $1.275. The other thing we did was we invested in a van for our students who participate in the PAVE program and the LINKS program at the high school. This provides students with an opportunity to get out in the workforce, have internships, to develop jobs, and to make a transition from school to work. Students who do have some special needs. By buying our own van, we saved money because a bus can cost us anywhere from $48,000 to $55,000 a year for one run, and this would have been a run. By having our paras, our teachers were able to get the special license. Kids get on the van, they go where they need to go for their work, and we saved money that way, $15,000. Another thing that we invested in was $45,000 for a Wilson Reading Program, which really is designed to help children who may have learning to read difficulties. What the training allowed us, not only to train special education teachers, but also to train regular classroom teachers, and this is on the elementary level and into the middle school. What happens is that we develop what we call research-based intervention for the students, and it becomes a way of preventing or delaying, not even delaying, but it just allows us to use other interventions with our student assistant teams without saying, oh, the only way we can help this student is to provide special education services. No, it can be provided by the teachers who are already giving support services in literacy to students. Big investment. Facilities. Last year, we did a big job up at the middle school. We replaced the chillers and we replaced the cost of lighting at Torrington Middle School. We've now priced it out, and if we get our roof at Forbes, this is something that we will do at Forbes, and we also have priced it out at the high school. Because by changing our lights and our fixtures and the wattage, we've decreased the cost of electricity. Well, up to this date, and when did we flip, David, when did we flip the lights, brand new lights? August, September?
Around August.
Okay, so since August, we've saved $40,000 in the electricity bill at Torrington Middle School alone. So when you're looking at the operations and the development of a school district, we do have to look at our facilities. We do have to update them, we have to improve them, because the other piece is, I don't know if you can see, it would have been almost $1 million to replace those chillers. Well, thanks to our business manager and our chair and some other members and Mr. Bassetta, our facilities, they were able to follow where can we get incentives for upgrading our buildings and becoming energy efficient or going green, whatever. We were able to save with this project. We had a reimbursement from CL&P for $435,000 plus. So the actual cost for this project, which was almost $1 million, was about $500,000. Then we also got the $40,000 reduction in electric, and we feel that going forward we will save even more next year. And plus, we'll keep our building cool in the summer if we need to, if we have summer school or summer programs, and also keep all of our technology at the right temperature. You know, we can be very warm, but our technology has to be the right temperature. In general education, you spent, or else I got to spend your money, $70,000 on an online learning program, which included the Odyssey-ware licensing, counselors to oversee the online program, and tutors, a counselor to oversee the program, and tutors. I feel this was probably one of the best investments we've made. The results were priceless. As of the last count, we had 185 students enrolled over the course of 1 year. We had 114.5 courses were completed for high school credit. 28 students graduated, got high school diplomas, and who otherwise would have quit, dropped out, you know, would have felt that they were behind the 8 ball and just couldn't hang in there. So that's critical. And then we also purchased $306,000 to upgrade technology across the district. That included smart boards, computers, you name it, cameras, anything that we needed or thought we needed to enhance the instructional process, through technology in the classrooms, that's what we purchased. It's also part of a 4-year plan, 3 to 4 year plan, so that we have the technology we need to administer the smarter balanced assessments, which will be coming in once we finish with CMTs, because they're very, very different. Students will only take these assessments on a computer. This is a snapshot. This just shows the millions of dollars that Torrington has spent on education just in the past 3 years. So you can see we held steady, even went down here. So you know that anytime you go down with a budget, you lose ground and you go backwards. That's why if we had to stay steady this year, we would be going backwards, because we would have to give up existing programs to just stay at that money. When you take a look, and this slide is important, I know it's small, you'll be able to read it much better online. You know, I'm a teacher, I have to get stuff in, make sure I have all the information. But anyways, when you look, let's see, Danielle, green is our state mandates. So as you can see, the increase, this is over the past 3 years. It's gone from 24 million, almost 25, to 27.5 million for state mandates. That means state and federal mandates, and I'll explain that because I'm going to give you a quick history lesson about how school districts came into existence and how we have to pay for what we have. In the blue, you'll see general operation and facilities. What does it take to keep our buildings clean, run them, heat, electricity, water, sewer? The yellow is contractual obligations, and that's not only for salaries and benefits, but also for, as I said earlier, transportation, the diesel fuel, anything that we have to, sign a contract for. And that little skinny little line at the top, that's for programming. If you want to bring in and do something different, or begin an initiative, or try something, unless we go out and get grants, we've tried. We're always trying to get grants. That's where it ends. And so, as you can see, it was $961,000 back in 11-12 to $891,000 last year, and we're looking for $1,032,000 for next year. Okay. This, just so you know, this is the breakdown of those columns. So when you look at the other one, put it in too. And it just gets a little bit more specific as to what is under each of those areas. Now, mandates. What is a mandate? A mandate is something that we are required to do because legislation, whether on the state or federal level, created the law, and we have to follow it. And so does the board. That's why we have also State Board of Education, because they take the laws that are made here in our state, and their board, writes them up and passes them down to local boards. But how did we, or any town or city, how did we become responsible for educating our students, our children? The first thing you need to know is that way back when, in the dark ages, even earlier than when I was born, that was a long time ago. Okay, thank you. I got to break up some. Try it. Anyways, back in the dark ages, schools, how many of you ever heard of a one-room schoolhouse? Anybody attend a one-room schoolhouse? Okay. Don't answer. Anyways, one-room schoolhouses were located in different parts of what a town or a region or area would be. And anyone who lived near that town, or lived near that school, well, first of all, they helped build it, They helped bring the wood to keep it warm. Kids got the water, they paid for the teacher, and it was usually who was ever within walking distance, and I'm talking walking distance. In fact, one-room schoolhouses were in existence in communities like Harwington and Burlington and Litchfield until the late 1940s. And you're saying, how? That long ago? No. Until the late 1940s, until the boomer generation, baby boomer generation came along. And that's when they had to make consolidated schools, which means that they had to take people from all around the community, and however they got there, they had to come to one school. Torrington, being the largest city, which it still is, in northwest Connecticut, had began making consolidated schools around the 1900s. Now, here's the question. Why did they start making, because you look, Southwest is 1906, and I think Minchin Avenue was in the late 1880s, but I'm not a historian on that. But why did Torrington have to start making consolidated schools so early? What's that?
Commercial zones, after industrial.
You had industrial, and who's coming to work in those industries?
Families walk to and from work and to and from groceries.
More than that, but who was coming here that Torrington wanted educated? You had your immigrants moving. You had you right in the middle of your greatest immigration movement. So that's how we started out getting our consolidated schools, but instead they really became neighborhood schools because we had so many homes, and as this gentleman said, they could walk, they could get there. Well, so that's what happened is our state legislature in the 1900s gave authority to the towns and cities to develop their own school systems. Then, in the 1960s, our federal government started getting involved. And they started saying, oh, you know, you had to, no longer segregation, no longer schools for blacks and whites. They started with early childhood education for children in poverty. You know, so here came Head Start. That's when our federal government got involved. Then in 2002, No Child Left Behind. Again, a federal directive. And at this time, they said, we're going to assess kids. We want to know. We want to know all students need to make a certain level of expectation in academic performance. Except the problem was that what it was in Connecticut was different than what it was in Louisiana or Kansas or California. It was, again, so here the federals made the law, but it came down to the states and had to be implemented by the districts. Then, go ahead. So, over the past few years, now, here we're talking about education reform, okay? Scientifically researched interventions, Common Core standards, smarter balanced assessments, secondary school reform. By the time, well, in a couple of years, when you hit, your child hits high school, if they're not here yet, they're going to need not 22 credits to graduate, but 25 credits. So we'll have to offer more courses. Let's see, student success plans, beginning in 6th grade. We have to make sure that in order to have students college and career ready, we have to work with them one-on-one, a teacher, a counselor, someone who has a relationship with the child and help them begin to plan and decide, what do I want to do with my life? Be a mentor, a guide. This year, not only are we rolling out for the past 2 years our curriculum tied to the Common Core standards, we have a whole new teacher evaluation plan to put in place. And I'm not going to go into that, but it's going to take, what did we figure, about 300 hours, or how many hours per teacher? 30? Yeah, like 30 hours per teacher in a building where you have 80 teachers. That doesn't include everything else that a principal has to do. And they would flip back for 1 minute. And public school choice. Public schools, welcome to being competitive. In the old days, whoever lived in your town attended your school. No more. Children, as our first parent spoke, school choice. That means that a parent can elect to send their child to a magnet school, a charter school, choice within the district, as long as there's room. And what are we offering? What are we offering to our students that's different, that will keep them here, will keep them excited to be engaged in learning here? That parents will come out and support what their students are learning, all right? It is a competitive market. If we do the cuts and have to go to zero, we'll have nothing left to be competitive about. And it's becoming a very difficult market to make a name in. So, how do these mandates impact Torrington Public Schools? The implementation of the mandates are left up to the districts. That's why you have elected officials, your Board of Education. There is rarely money attached to these mandates. And I see a nod from the education group over here. Rarely, rarely, rarely. You can go out and write grants to see if you can get some money, but all mandates require a lot of time to implement. It also requires, you can use your current staff to make it happen because you really want everybody speaking the same language, implementing the same strategies, talking the same talk and walking the same walk in instruction. You can use your existing staff, but it's going to be a very slow rollout. And they say 3 to 5 years to change. The state isn't waiting 3 to 5 years. Boom. They began with this teacher evaluation plan last August, right? And it's going to be implemented July 1st. And you can also go with, bring in outside consultants or buy something off the shelf and say to your teachers, here you go, do it. But Torrington, I believe, prides itself in trying to develop curriculum and instruction and programming for the needs of their students, whatever those needs may be. That takes time. That takes money. And thank you for all of you hanging in here with me. When you look, this just gives the idea of the development of the budget. There was an all-in budget. I asked the principals this year, I said, what do you want? What do you need to make your school move forward, to meet the needs of your students, to do what you say, this is what I want to do? That was $73,991,000 and some change. I did not bring that forward. I may be crazy, but I'm not totally nuts. Or I am not ignorant of the needs of the families this district serves. However, I did bring in one for the superintendent's budget because there are some things we want to grow, develop, change, and continue. That budget rests at $71,622,000 and some change. However, my recommended budget is only 2%. 2. Because I consider the 5.75 to maintain. Do we desperately need to maintain? Yes. I think for those of you who've been at all the subcommittee meetings, You know, you've heard what people want. You know what you want. I'm not crossing that out. I'm not saying, no, take it. I don't think it's important. I want that, and I want a little bit more. So you will find in the PowerPoint tomorrow, you will find what I am recommending for investments, and you'll also see the losses. You'll see the maintain the budget, and then you will see what will have to be cut to get to zero. There was nothing left to cut. If you've ever carved a Thanksgiving turkey, and you know you're getting down, and then when you start hitting the bone, you say, okay, I'll throw it in the soup. That's where we'll be. We won't even have the carcass left to make soup. Here's a 3-year projection. So, and again, it's in the sequence as to mandates, contractual obligations, just projected increases, and then the little bit of flexible spending I saw. There it is, that's for the next 3 years. So we are trying to move forward so that we can, let you know, hey, okay, we're starting this, and we want to do this, and we're going to go here, because this is what we're going to have as a school district. And we want to remind the Board of Education what your mission, job is to do. And you have to provide an educational program in alignment with state and federal regulations that provides a core instruction program in literacy, numeracy, writing, and values that serve a democratic society. You have to accept and retain all students who are bona fide residents of the municipality, no matter their race, religion, previous education attainment, social class, family income, special needs, or personal characteristics. I feel I've presented a budget, when you look at it monetarily, that will allow you to keep your mission and for us to continue as a very good, if not outstanding, school district. But I can't do it alone. For whatever drove you here to come tonight, for whatever you believe in that our school needs, there's a cost to it. I will not deny that. But we'll figure out exactly what it is for each home. And if we can get that information, I'll share it with you. But I can't. I need your help. I need for you to say, yes, we do want this school district. We do want to keep the great reputation we have. You have great kids. We have great teachers. And we're doing the best job we possibly can with what we have. But we need every penny of it. So thank you for listening to me. You were a great class. I was going to read you a story about this. And if any of you have a 3rd grader in Mrs. Palutro's class, ask them about the story that I got to read to them. And it's about a small African community during the 1930s who learned about the Depression and New York City across the Salt River. And, poor as all can be, but the thought of children going to bed hungry, this whole community came together and raised money so that children in New York City would not be hungry. I think Torrington can do that so that our children are not hungry for the knowledge, the skills, the strategies they need to apply to become, as we all know, career and college ready and contributors to this community. Going to make the investment? I know my 92-year-old mother said she would.